Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news from the Winchester Star. They wrote, take heed if you're ever watching Bobcat Golthwait perform in person. Keep your voice down. This is such a funny story. A chatty audience member learned the hard way Saturday night. There was a man who possibly had had a couple beverages and during the opener was interrupting a bunch of times. Bobcat came out and right at the start of his show said, just shut up and act right, dummy. You've been ruining the show. Please leave. For the first few minutes of a 5-minute exchange, it wasn't clear if Bobcat was joking or being serious. Even the loud audience member seemed confused, praising Bobcat as one of his favorite childhood performers and saying he loved the 1989 version of a stand-up routine. That's back when Bobcat used to do the kind of version of his act. He doesn't do that anymore. But it became clear that Bobcat wasn't clowning around. He repeatedly called the man names like dummy and redneck. The audience member asked Bobcat, would he like him to leave? Yes. As the man walked out, he apologized for ruining the show. Bobcat said he actually made the show better, telling the audience that everyone enjoys watching a fight. I know you guys were awkward for a while, but it was riveting. We love tension. On to the show proper. Bobcat talked about COVID-19, one of his jokes. The pandemic would have been over in 2 weeks had the vaccine been put in Mountain Dew. Another topic, the passion of Donald Trump supporters. Bobcat said, I love my girlfriend, I love my daughter, but I don't have hats and t-shirts with them on it. And billionaires who take flights into space. His opinion, every time Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos don't blow up in one of their vanity rockets, I'm disappointed. But that initial part seemed to bother Bobcat. He kept talking about it and said, there must be something that person I don't like about myself. But because the man who possibly had too many beverages, who knows, had mentioned the old Bobcat act, Bobcat said, it's been a long time since I've done that. And then did some of the old material in the old style. He said, it's been a long time since I've done that. Bobcat performed 30 minutes longer than expected Saturday night because he was having fun. He said, I'm enjoying myself right now. I really am. You guys have been mind-blowingly kind. Sounds like it was a fun show, unless you were that one dude. Let me cause a little trouble here. Remember, I don't know, a month ago maybe, there was that story where Maya Rudolph was upset at David Letterman because a zillion years ago, he supposedly said her name wrong. Now, I played the clip on that episode. You can go back and find it. As I pointed out at the time, I think any Letterman impression has a lot of ums in it, as in, my next guest is, right? That's how you would do a Letterman impression. So I think he said something along the lines of, my next guest is Maya Rudolph. And Maya Rudolph thought he called her Amaya. Anyway, listen to this clip. Keke Palmer on this week's Saturday Night Live mentioning Maya Rudolph. Listen.
I asked myself, Keke, who will you be? You know, will you be like a Maya Rudolph, Eddie Murphy, a Kristen Wiig type?
I will be curious to see how Maya Rudolph reacts to that. Did Keke Palmer say her name wrong, or did she just do exactly what Letterman did? The Sketchfest announced a whole bunch of people more at their 20th anniversary. Is that even English, Johnny Mac? That's not how the sentence goes. The Sketchfest is having their 20th anniversary, comma. They announced some more people attending the festival. That was closer to English. Newly added shows include Fred Armisen 3-night residency, Red Room Orchestra playing the music of Twin Peaks and Repo Man. Really? The Psychologists are in with Maggie Lawson and Timothy Omundson. Dumb People Town with the Sklar Brothers and Daniel Van Kirk. James Adomian. Alana Glazer presents Allison Levy. Mike Drop, a night of music, rap, and comedy with Drennan Davis, Epic Lloyd, Eliza Skinner. Some of the previously announced lineup includes tributes to Cheech and Chong, I Married a Monster from Outer Space, a staged reading with Lorraine Newman, Dana Gould, and Bobcat Golthwait. So keep your voice down, will ya? Citizens Brigade's ASCAT with Matt Besser, Judge John Hodgman, Maria Bamford, Doug Benton's Movie Interruption, and Varietopia with Paul F. Tompkins. Whole bunch more coming up in January. Looking forward to that. Oh, who do you root for in this one? I guess not Kanye West, right? D.L. Hughley trolled Kanye with the lyrics to Gold Digger after Kanye was ordered to pay, wait do you hear this number? X dollars a month in child support to Kim Kardashian. Or it's Kim Kardashian. She seems like she has money, right? Well, I don't know how the law works. And I'm not on Team Kanye, but Kanye's been ordered to pay $200,000 a month in child support. D.L. Hughley went on Instagram and said, when your life imitates your art, yikes. He added lyrics from Gold Digger, said, if you ain't no punk, holla. We want prenup. We want prenup. Yeah, it's something that you need to have because when she leave your ass, she gonna leave with half. NBC has picked up 9 more episodes of George Lopez's Lopez vs. Lopez. That brings the first season total to 22 episodes. So I guess someone's watching it. Also, quite impressively, Lopez vs. Lopez is the #1 NBC comedy launch on Peacock. And Eugene Merman, whose credits listed here includes Bob's Burgers. Right? Eugene Merman has a new single. It's called Parents, Get Rid of the Kids. I'll give you 5 seconds here. I almost blew it. All right. The kids got Get Rid of the Kids. Get rid of the kids. I warned you. His new single is called, did you get rid of the kids? How do you lie to your child about Santa? Whew, I almost blew that there. You'd be getting letters. It's a Christmas song about the dilemma of wanting to indulge your young child in the fun of Santa, but also wanting your child to believe you about reality and its complexities and heartbreaks. Now available on streaming and next week on the Weekly Comedy Thing, which is the show I host every week on the Live One app, and it's free, so you should grab it. I intend to play this song. If you'd like to support the show, join the $2 Club. You're going to go to buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. Join the $2 Club. What's that? You sign up every month. You donate $2 to the fund. Thank you in advance. I watched a bunch of specials. I'm going to talk about the specials here in the second half. In parallel to that, the New York Times put out their list of best comedies of the year. I'm going to dive in on that on Saturday. But what caught my eye, they have at number 1, Rathaniel, Jared Carmichael. Yeah. Because that special's not funny. It might be special, but it's not funny. But I'll dive in on that on Saturday. What do you guys think of Rathaniel? The LA Times also put out their list. I'll talk about that on Sunday. All right, what did I watch? So I open up Netflix. I'm like, let me see what's on the Netflix tonight. This was Friday night. And they put in the big giant banner, I guess tailored specifically for me, because I don't think this was a big push everywhere, Romesh Raganathan special. And I was like, all right, I like British comedy. Let me watch it. Really funny. Really enjoyed it. Watched the whole thing in one shot. I was particularly impressed. He works the room really well. Not quite crowd work, but he was kind of like surfing the crowd, if you know what I mean, like feeling it and changing his pace. I didn't feel like he was just doing an act by rote, and really worked the room well. So that's Romesh Raganathan on Netflix. You'll have to probably deep dive a little bit, but that one's pretty good. Then I switched over to Neal Brennan's special. It starts a little slow, like a touch slow. Like I was thinking about bailing. I'm like, and I stuck with it, and I'm glad I did. It really won me over. He's got this thing with blocks, like actual physical blocks, that he translates into blocks of comedy within the show. It's a really good gimmick that helps the segues. But I came away from Neal Brennan's show with some real good belly laughs and feeling like he said something with 2 capital S's. So I really enjoyed Neal Brennan's special. I also watched Deon Cole's special. That's on HBO Max. Very funny. Same thing. Enjoyed it. Watched it in one shot. But it's not going to make my end of the year list. And here's why. There's really nothing special about it. It's a perfectly fine, competent comedy special that's funny. Right? So that's a good review. Like, it's a really good special. But there's not that like extra gear that a lot of the things that make the end of the year list tend to have. So like it was solid. Laughed. Enjoyed it. Definitely not bad. It's actually really good, but like I don't feel a reason to like rank it. Does that make sense? But if you want to kill an hour and sit on the couch and laugh, yeah, Deon Cole's special is really funny. That one's on HBO Max. Back to Netflix. They put in front of me something called Only Jokes Allowed. This was 6 South African comedians doing 15-minute, showcases. I went into it pretty excited. I've seen a few South African comedians over the years, and not Trevor Noah. There was this other guy that was described, I saw him up in Kenya, as the Jon Stewart of South Africa. I know that sounds like I just described Trevor Noah. This was well before Trevor Noah got The Daily Show. Let's see if I Google that phrase, if the guy's name came up. Oh, yeah, here he is. I found an article from CPR.org back from 2015. Iso Gola, he hosts, at least he did in 2015, Late Night News, a satirical news program on South African television. Yeah, this guy, I saw him. He was fantastic. Back in 2015, Gola said, I think comedy is comedy. I think we all go through the same experiences as human beings. If you're funny in Mongolia, you can be funny in America. If you're funny in South Africa, you're funny anywhere in the world. It takes a little bit more explaining because of cultural differences, but everyone goes through the same things. We all go through breakups. We're all late for the airport. And his advice for Trevor Noah, again, this from 2015 and this week now in 2022, being Trevor's last week hosting The Daily Show. Gole's advice was, I have no doubt in my mind he's going to absolutely kill it and take the show to another other level. The one thing I would say is he must be himself, because the thing that got him the show was him being himself. Now, that's really interesting because Trevor himself feels like the show got better, ironically, because of the pandemic. He grew out his hair, he started dressing more casually, so that's really interesting. Anyway, I went into Only Jokes Allowed, the thing on Netflix I was talking about a few minutes back. Really excited to see 6 South African comedians, and nothing really there crushed it. Celeste Natuli was probably the best that I watched there, but, if you want to deep dive on Netflix, there's plenty of deep dive comedy. There's a lot of Indian stuff in English as well, but this one's called Only Jokes Allowed if you want to check that out. And just to go full circle on Saturday Night Live, here's my question, and I asked this on my various social medias. Is SNL just okay with handing in a rebuilding year? Like we're, a football team that's fine going 2-15 this year because we want to draft a quarterback? Like, I get that it's not easy to do, but this year just seems like, the show's not that good. I mean, even the guest host, and somebody else brought this up, and I mentioned it probably about a month ago as well. The guest host this year, not the biggest stars in the world, What happens if Jost and Che leave? And as I said in the socials, Keenan Thompson eats innings. Now, if you're not a baseball fan, that means you have a pitcher that's like, okay, but he takes his turn every 5 days and pitches most of the games, so you don't have to use your bullpen. I feel like Keenan carries so much of the show. It's unbelievable. He does a great job. So while we're doing sports metaphors, my take, and Lorne Michaels definitely needs my advice, I would get the ball to James Austin Johnson, Sarah Sherman, the Please Don't Destroy guys, and the current MVP, Bowen Yang. I like Bowen a lot, but I feel like he's a number 2, and the show needs an ace. Maybe that's why this season isn't working. Would love your thoughts on that. All the socials are in the episode description, and you can follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. Join the $2 Club, will you? See you tomorrow.